Hey, let's talk college sports. While we brought you in here, we got all the football teams playing the bowl games. Did they get the Final Four right? And are you looking forward to seeing these teams play?
I think they did get them right. I looked at the SEC championship game as part of the playoff because Georgia being in that 4 spot, I felt like they needed to win that game. That was a playoff game for them. They came up a little short, and they're out. Oklahoma slides into that spot, and I believe they got it right.
The only negative thing I've heard is it seems like it's the same teams. They say, this was such a great thing, but the same teams keep showing up in the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, if you go down the list, I mean, sitting at 5, Georgia ended up sitting at 5, Ohio State at 6, and then Michigan 7, UCF 8. So if you look at that, how far down the list do you need to go? You're seeing blue blood after blue blood until you get to UCF. And I think the fact that they ended up at 8 probably leads me to think that maybe we're going towards 8 teams pretty soon.
Yeah, how soon do you think?
Well, I think because there'll be a lot of push for it, whether it's 6 or 8, because that's also been discussed too, and you give 2 teams the bye. I heard a good discussion about this. They said there's picking the 4 best teams and then the 4 most deserving teams. Because if you look at Georgia and you want to say, are they one of the 4 best? Yeah, you could certainly make that argument. But what are you going to do with Notre Dame? Are you going to say they're not deserving? They played that schedule. They went undefeated. And they deserve to be in there that way. You are not matching them up as the best. You're matching them up who fits the criteria.
Yeah, and when you look at Georgia and Ohio State, they had 2 bad losses. You have to answer for those losses.
It's funny. You would think more deserving and best would align more than they seem to.
They don't always align.
Where do you think this is all headed?
Well, it's funny. Deserving all depends on where in the country you are listening to sports talk radio, right? Because I got a lot of buddies that work in Cleveland sports talk radio. These are smart guys who legitimately believe that a 29-point loss to Purdue from Ohio State didn't matter because Ohio State's schedule, in their opinion, was slightly better than the undefeated Notre Dame schedule. Like, this is absolutely insane. Even funnier, right, are the folks from Michigan who were trying to justify before they lost to Ohio State why they should have been the number 2 team in the country. Like, it's absolute bedlam, and I think that the folks in college football like it this way because no matter who your team is or how good or bad they are, you can somehow find a way to justify why they should be in a playoff or be in a better bowl game or be playing, well, you know what I'm saying.
Notre Dame hammers a team in, say, the Orange Bowl and then
Texas.
shoots all the way up, right?
77 Cotton Bowl, it was Texas. Texas was number 1, Notre Dame was number 5. Notre Dame beat them 38-10. Jumped all the way to number 1.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Going back to that flawed logic, bring up Michigan and Notre Dame again, right? Like, Notre Dame beats Michigan with their backup quarterback, and before Michigan loses to Ohio State, they're trying to make the argument that they're a better team in that moment. How does that make any sense from an athletic standpoint?
And not only did Ohio State lose that game big, they could have, if not should have, lost to Penn State. Could have, if not should have, lost to Maryland, too. They were not overly impressive in that. They did have a great game against Michigan, against their big rivals, but they're fine where they are.